The episode opens up with astronomer and researcher Catherine Durand reaching out to her estranged sister, Sophia. She talks to her for a while and offers her support whenever needed. Following this, Catherine heads to her workplace at a government space observatory, accompanied by her colleague Richard. Together, they investigate a powerful signal originating from the exoplanet Ross 128b. Upon analysis, Catherine suspects that the signal is not of natural origin. Cautious about the implications, she decides to have a senior colleague verify their findings before alerting government authorities. Meanwhile, a young blind girl named Emily experiences the same pulsating noise, causing her to wake up startled, though her surroundings seem normal. In the next scene, Catherine and Richard collaborate with the ALMA Space Research Group to confirm the signal's authenticity. Convinced of its significance, they determine that reporting to government officials is imperative. Afterward, we are shown that Emily and her brother are preparing for school, under the watchful eye of their mother, Sarah, who urges them to have breakfast. Here, we learn that Emily's father, Jonathan, is away on a business trip in Paris and is supposed to return home soon. However, when the scene shifts to Jonathan, we see him engaging in romantic behavior at a bar with someone else. In a different setting, at a university in London, Professor William Bill Ward is teaching his students about neuroscience. However, it's revealed that he has a troubling habit of stalking his ex-wife, Helen, during his daily commute home. Meanwhile, there's a storyline involving Karim, a refugee aspiring for a better life in London. One day, a friend shows him a message, prompting them to attempt sneaking into an army camp and hiding in a container bound for London. Unfortunately, when they try to execute their plan, they get noticed, and Karim's friend is caught. Despite this, somehow, Karim manages to hide inside a tank on a truck to escape the situation. In the following scene, Catherine makes a presentation to a group of delegates, sharing information about the continuous pulsating signals detected at the observatory. She suggests the possibility of extraterrestrial life, and leaves the decision to the meeting. Upon returning to the observatory, Catherine receives support from the army, led by Colonel Mustafa Makrani and his troops to research and investigate more on the case. Later that night, the group makes a startling discovery. A large number of meteors are headed toward Earth. Unfortunately, before they can issue a warning, the meteors collide with the Earth's surface, hitting multiple inhabited areas and causing chaos among the people. Surprisingly, Emily, during the meteor approach, seems to sense extraterrestrial signals or objects and ventures outside, feeling a connection. Thankfully, her mother, Sarah, pulls her back inside just in time. The meteors turn out to be metallic spacecraft emitting an electromagnetic signal. The following day, the government declares a state of emergency, closing schools and halting civilian aircraft until further notice. The public is urged to stay home, and officials in London are relocated to a bunker. When an alpha team investigates the meteors, they turn out to be metallic spacecraft emitting a strong electromagnetic signal. Meanwhile, Sarah, Emily, and her brother Tom find themselves stuck in traffic as they attempt to leave town. Emily, with her unique ability, again hears a strange pulsing sound and asks her mother about it. On the other hand, their father, Jonathan, is making his way back home from Paris. After her duty is over, Catherine also contacts her sister, Sophia, urging her to reach the observatory as soon as possible, informing her about the possible danger. Catherine suspects another alien attack and urges her sister, Sophia, to seek safety at the observatory, deeming it the most secure place. Amid the chaos, Professor Bill Ward, leveraging his expertise, delves into researching spherical objects and connects their frequency to a project completed by his students. Fortunately, he successfully decodes the magnetic signals emitted by the spacecraft. He discovers that these signals can damage human neurons and disrupt all electronic devices, posing a grave threat to anyone exposed. Realizing the imminent danger, Bill urgently contacts his son, Dan, a government employee. He warns Dan about the lethal nature of the signals and urges him to issue a warning to the public. However, Dan's attempts to communicate with the minister prove futile. Undeterred, Dan takes matters into his own hands and issues an official tweet advising people to seek refuge in bunkers or underground facilities to safeguard against the impending alien attack. As the situation intensifies, Bill observes atmospheric changes due to sudden frequency shifts. Racing against time, he rushes to his ex-wife Helen's apartment. On his way, he is stopped by Helen's husband, Chris, who suggests he should leave. Faced with urgency, Bill unintentionally pushes Chris down the stairs, resulting in a fatal accident, resulting in the latter's death. In a critical moment, Bill swiftly takes Helen into an elevator as the signal reaches its maximum strength. Meanwhile, Sarah, driven by the desperate need to protect her children, drives frantically and miraculously halts the car near a train station. She then guides her kids to the underground waiting area. Unfortunately, while trying to reach the station in time, Jonathan's taxi meets a tragic fate, plunging into a river in Paris. At the crucial instant, as the signal peaks, those not in enclosed spaces succumb to its effects. Luckily, Karim, who had entered the truck, emerges alive in an unfamiliar environment in the middle of a damaged highway. Conversely, Catherine's sister, Sophia, doesn't reach the observatory in time, and Catherine, aware of Sophia's intended destination, decides to search for her in the aftermath of the pulse. In the following scene, we see Bill and Helen trapped inside an elevator during the high-frequency pulse attack. Bill somehow manages to open the elevator door and steps out, only to witness lifeless bodies both on the road and within the building. He chooses not to disclose to Helen that he saw her husband, Chris, the previous day. Leaving Helen in the elevator, Bill then searches around and moves Chris' deceased body away from the stairs. Simultaneously, Sarah, realizing the pulse has ended, guides her children out of the underground station, only to encounter other lifeless civilians on the road. She then walks to her car and urges Emily and Tom to get inside. Unfortunately, her car fails to start, leaving her with no choice other than to find a safe place to hide. Sarah encourages her children to grab their bags and walk home on foot. Concerned for her sister Sophia, Catherine leaves the observatory alone in search of her. She encounters a number of vehicles on the way with dead bodies, but does not find her sister. Journeying through a forest, she encounters a distressed young girl. At that moment, the colonel arrives with his troop, guiding the two and promising to assist Catherine in locating her sister. Afterward, Chris assists Helen in getting out of the elevator, and the latter is deeply saddened upon learning about her husband's death due to the pulse. Bill confirms this unfortunate news to her and pretends that he might be helping others to safety. After this, Helen inquires Bill about their son Dan, and together, they decide to go find their son to ensure he's safe. On another front, Karim successfully reaches London but, facing hunger, breaks into a store. In a tense confrontation with the store owner, Karim is stabbed and, in self-defense, unintentionally shoots and kills the owner. Later, Sarah, along with her children Tom and Emily, arrives at the same store to gather essential food items for survival. They come across the injured Karim, but Sarah is hesitant to help him. Tom and Emily express dissatisfaction with her decision, criticizing her for it. In a desperate move, Karim, fearing abandonment, briefly seizes Emily and threatens harm unless they call a doctor. However, when he notices Emily getting afraid and peeing in her pants, he eventually releases her. The family then quickly leaves the scene and seeks refuge in a nearby hotel without delay. Moving on, Colonel Mustafa Makrani and his troop continue their search for survivors, coming across a group of people engaged in looting at a nearby supermarket. Upon reaching the supermarket themselves, they are perplexed to find no signs of casualties around. However, as two soldiers follow a trail of blood, they stumble upon a grim discovery: a heap of lifeless bodies inside a warehouse. In a sudden turn of events, the team faces their first encounter with the aliens. They are attacked by aliens who spot them from the rooftop. The brutal attack results in the loss of several men, with the aliens showing no mercy, even towards children. Catherine, in an effort to protect the young girl, seeks refuge inside the seemingly secure supermarket. It's at this moment that we get a glimpse of the aliens, revealing their fully mechanized bodies. Amid the chaos, the young girl gets separated from Catherine and hides in a freezer. Tragically, her attempt to evade the aliens is in vain, as one of the mechanized bots locates her and fatally shoots her in the head. Catherine, assisted by Colonel Mustafa Makrani and the surviving members of the troop, manages to escape the perilous situation and sorrowfully makes their way back to the observatory. One can clearly see Catherine is sad and filled with a sense of guilt. On the other hand, Jonathan, having survived the pulse, tries to locate a working vehicle to continue his journey to London. However, after encountering non-functional vehicles, he opts to journey on foot back to reunite with his family. Along the way, he encounters a stranger who warns him about the perilous presence of aliens attacking people. Later that night, Sarah, visibly distressed, sits by the window, shedding tears and smoking a cigarette. During this somber moment, she observes a young girl being pursued by an alien bot and tragically witnesses her demise from a distance. Filled with fear, Sarah swiftly closes the window in response to the unsettling event. At the Government Research Center, Dan, an employee, discusses the chaotic situation outside with the minister he works for. The minister reassures Dan that her young children are safe in the bunker. Later, while reflecting on his parents' picture, Dan hears a thumping sound. Soldiers, equipped with necessary gear, prepare to investigate outside. Unfortunately, upon opening the bunker door, they are attacked by alien bots, leading to a breach. In the following scene, Bill and Helen arrive at the bunker where Dan worked, only to discover a grim scene. The bunker was attacked, and most inside were killed by the alien bots. Bill, upon entering, faces an attack but manages to disable the alien bot just in time. Soon after, they encounter the minister, the sole survivor in the bunker. She expresses her grief over losing her children and reveals that Dan escaped during the attack. Heartbroken and tormented by the loss of her children, the minister confesses to Bill and Helen that she harbored feelings for Dan before taking her own life. Following the tragic incident, Bill and Helen take the initiative to cover the bodies and successfully capture an alien bot. Bill, intrigued by the bot's design, examines its components and makes a remarkable discovery. It's a mechanical machine with a biological interior. As someone with a background in neuroscience, Bill is fascinated by the bot's intricate structure, acknowledging the advanced technology of the aliens. On a different note, Sarah cautiously leaves the hotel room, determined to continue their journey home with the belief that Jonathan will reunite with them soon. However, on their way, Emily is approached by a hospital orderly seeking her assistance in managing the situation inside the hospital. Initially hesitant, Sarah eventually agrees when her children insist. Upon entering the hospital, they witness patients on beds, with the remaining staff doing their best with limited resources. Ash, the hospital orderly, guides Sarah and her family to an infant room, where newborns are kept. He requests Sarah's help in caring for the infants for a day. Despite initial reluctance, Sarah agrees to assist in the care of the infants, realizing the gravity of the situation and the need for collective effort. In the hospital, Bill and Helen reunite with Karim, finding him in the process of recovering from his wounds. They manage to reconcile and mend their relationship. Later that night, Emily, hearing the alien pulses again, experiences a surprising development. Her sight is restored. Astonished, she explores the hospital, catching the attention of Karim, who approaches her to understand the situation. Together, they hear gunshots outside, prompting Karim and Ash to arm themselves and address the ongoing situation. On the other hand, Jonathan, on his way back home, meets a girl named Chloe and faces an encounter with an alien bot. Surprisingly, the girl aids him, ensuring his safety. After this, Chloe decides to join Jonathan on his journey home. The next day, Bill, stepping out of the bunker, makes a devastating discovery: the lifeless body of his son, Dan. Struggling with the truth, he eventually informs Helen about their son's demise. Overwhelmed with grief, Helen carries her son's body and confronts Bill, urging him to devise a biological weapon to eradicate all the alien bots responsible for her son's death. She is determined to eliminate the bots that took her son's life. In the final scene, Emily once again hears the pulsating noise, prompting her to peer through the window. To her shock, she observes a cluster of bots heading towards the building. The episode concludes with Karim walking away from his guarding spot, unknowingly permitting the bots to enter the hospital. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave 1,000 likes or 100 comments if you'd like us to continue part 2. Thank you.